Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. It's episode number 48. Cannot think of any 48s. There's nobody. Darnell Day? He was 46.
Was he?
No, that was McGiddy. Was he 48 then?
I think so.
I think you're right.
Because I used to live in a 48, so
Nice.
that's how I remember.
Well, it is Sunday. You know what that means. It's time for the regular Sunday podcast. For the time being, we might have a trick up our sleeves this week, a wee double game week if you like, but we'll save that for the end. Thank you to G4 Claims for having us. As always, make sure to go and check them out if you need any assistance on that front. I'm joined by the two who are always here. They always seem to be here. Ryan McGinley, Kieran Hall. I'll start with you, Ryan, son. You tried to stay up for the UFC. You failed to stay up for the UFC. How are you doing on this Sunday afternoon?
Because I fell asleep, I feel a bit better than what I would have done if I'd actually seen the two fights that I wanted to stay up for. But I'm not too bad. I'm a wee bit tired, but you know, I'm here to talk about Celtic, so can't beat it.
Yes, and then to the left of him, we have Mr. Kieran Old, and the big question, are you rough, sir?
I wouldn't say rough. I wouldn't say I'm perfectly fine though, so we're in an awkward limbo state here.
Limbo. I'm probably the roughest here. I'm actually feeling it a wee bit. Let's have a wee story time before we start. So yesterday, Ryan, we tried to go out for the football. What a palaver that turned into, Kieran. So
I blame you.
I don't blame me. Look, I made it perfectly clear that I was fine to go out.
You done that. You done that thing where it was obviously your idea to go out, but then you tried to absolve yourself of any blame.
Well,
anything.
I don't think I deserve
One
any
at
blame.
Tim Malone's to watch the game. Fucking rock up. Well, definitely we've got a table. I think you said there's tables there. Fucking go to the door. No.
So
Just no. And then everywhere else is obviously bookings only until the morrow when everything goes back to normal. So we're walking about like dicks, missing the first 10 minutes of the game. Ryan's walking about watching it on his phone, and then we're doing end of Sellik Street, end of the line. What the fuck? Then what is it? The hall we ended up in.
We ended up in the hall at Sellik Street.
But we definitely weren't even meant to be there. We just walked in.
We just walked in
sat
when
at
the
a table.
bouncer happened not to be at the door, which was
Sat
lucky.
at a table that was fucking, I don't know, it was definitely bookings only, but
Aye, so I'm trying to organise a wee quiz here if you wonder why I'm looking at my phone. But yeah, so I messaged, shout out to Jake, our good friend Jake. I messaged him, I was like, get his tables at Malone's. I get his tables. He's like, I can't keep you a table, but we got to the door, couldn't get in. We tried about 7 pubs after that, couldn't get in. We were lucky to get to the hall.
rejection after rejection after rejection.
Just like my life.
Relate,
So, it was great. It was shout out to Danny and Danny, the two Dannys for the hall, who gave me a free pint, and hopefully will be listening to this podcast. Absolute legends, the pair of them. Went to the school Andy boys as well.
Ryan's big brother.
Ryan Fall's big brother, not my big brother. I don't have any brothers. And it was a lovely wee experience to watch the game in a alcoholic state. Hence the reason there was no video last night, because I did have a drink. So we're here to review it all today. We're here to talk about it.
I don't know how much I'm going to be able to have such an input here, because I was sat watching probably, what was it, maybe like 32-inch fucking
You
telly
need
on the
specs,
wall.
mate. Talking about specs.
No, I've got specs. I
You
just
should
never
wear
brought them
them.
out. I watched the game like that. Fucking trying
What minute is it? What minute is that?
couldn't read a fucking.
Who's that? Who's that?
score
Good
line or
time.
nothing,
Who's
man.
that? Baldy.
Is that Connor Salmon?
He's
I had to rub my eyes when I seen fucking Connor Salmon.
Aye, well, let's get
Similar,
on.
man.
Let's get on to the game. Let's talk about Celtic and Alloa yesterday, because I feel like this is one we could probably wrap up fairly quickly, because
Think?
well,
I could talk quite a bit about certain things in that game.
once again, an alcoholic state yesterday.
I could probably talk about it then.
No, but look, we've got a lot to talk about. But it's one that I think the 90 minutes of kicking the ball. I think there's more. There's
22 men on the park.
Somehow.
I think that the kind of things that spawn out of the game have got a lot to talk about, but in terms of the game itself, you know, we've done what we had to do. We went out, we won it, we beat an Alloa side that we should be beaten, and we see ourselves through the cup. It wasn't the prettiest game, it wasn't the most pleasing on the eye, but when you seen that team get announced yesterday, I think, you know, there is that kind of, you know, lowered the expectation. I think there was a bit of rotation. I didn't expect us to go and win 4-5-6-0. I just wanted this get job done when I seen the team like that. I must admit, I wasn't going to get too ahead of myself. I know you like to get ahead of yourself.
Speak for yourself, mate, because I seen that team, I was like, even with the rotation, I think we made 5 changes.
Yeah.
I still thought it was a really, really strong team.
I can see
go out and get a couple of goals.
We could have scored so many.
We could have. I can see why you'd think that. I don't judge you for thinking that, but I just, when I seen it, I was like, okay, I'm not getting ahead of myself here. I really did expect
I was never
us to go in.
expecting a pure what high score line on it.
No.
I think I was before the game, then I watched us on that pitch. I was like, no, we'll just get
That was another factor as well into my thinking. The plastic surface, obviously, Celtic are not great on plastic surfaces, and we still aren't great on plastic surfaces. It's something that we need to work on, but that was another reason it factored into my... You know what, as I've said, I think this whole run of games, I don't care how we do it, I just want us to win, because that is ultimately what we have to do.
Yep.
Even if it's a cup game, we need to win that game, move on to the next, win that game. I don't really care what the scoreline is. I didn't care how we performed against Hibs. Certainly didn't care how we performed against Alloa, as long as we get the job done in this run of games. Then I'll start putting my focus back on how good we perform once we're past the derby, I think. But we went in that game yesterday, Ryan, you were in a much better state, so what did you think of the 90, or give us some flash points of what you thought. We'll all come into different bits and such, but what was your thoughts yesterday?
Apart from the goals, it was pretty painful to watch. Wasn't a lot going on in the game, really. I know we had quite a few chances, and then Alloa had a couple of chances at the end, but we got the job done. That was the main thing. I thought John Hartson in commentary was absolutely awful. I don't know if he's heard it. Did you?
Fucking no. We avoided the commentary, but the one bit that I did hear was the Connor Salmon chance.
Aye,
it has to score.
He has to score from 40 yards. What does he think he is? Do you think he's Gianfranco Zola? Or something? I don't know. I think he stopped watching Connor Salmon after he played for Derby. There's this 5 or 6 year period where he's kind of been languishing in the lower leagues and maybe the lower teams in the Premiership.
But like, I would feel
he should score.
That's an utterly ridiculous thing to say about any player. If Wayne Rooney himself was to take a shot from 40 yards in that situation, and a commentator hit around the way, he has to score there, I would be honestly quite stunned, because no player
It'd make
should
more sense
be
if it
scoring.
was Wayne Rooney, but at the same time, come on.
You just don't.
And then he was.
None.
He said, I think it was him against either Scales, Starfelt or Welsh. I can't remember. They all kind of look the same, to be honest.
It's hard. No, that is because you were talking about the struggle watching the game yesterday on that wee telly. To differentiate Starfelt and Welsh from that distance.
Somebody needs to get a ball there, Tyler Hill.
That was
difficult. Was quite convenient for a lot of the Sellik dads yesterday. We'll get onto that. We'll get onto that. Yep. But it was Connor Salmon against one of those 3 players, and he said Connor Salmon's quick. Now, I can't honestly believe that's came out of his mouth. When has Connor Salmon ever been quick, apart from to pick up that pizza at the end of that game?
He's aerodynamic, man.
He's bald. He'd get some going in the wind, you know. I mean, I suppose John Hartson obviously wasn't the quickest fella. You know, he's quick
compared to John Hartson, but John Hartson just wasn't mobile at all.
It's a mad thing that's like Roy Keane got on the bus after a Celtic game and he's seen fucking
John Hartson
a packet of Chris and a can of fizzy juice.
I mean, John Hartson maybe thinks he's just quick in comparison. Maybe that's what it is.
That must be it.
Aye. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, as you said, Ryan. Let's talk about the first half. The goal, terrific delivery from Scales and a good finish from Big Giacomakis. It's good for Giacomakis. I mean, there's a lot, I think, in the kind of opinions just now of whether or not he was good yesterday or not. But I think getting the goals is important.
There's been a massive overreaction in terms of Giacomakis, because before yesterday he'd played like 6 games for Celtic. 2 of them, he'd only started 2 games.
Yep.
And there was this perception that he was another failure. I'm like, he's been fucking injured.
Aye.
He's been injured since November.
Which I guess, in one hand, is a bit of a failure because but I hate this narrative that he's rotten.
He's not had a chance to fucking show it, and everybody's written him off. Like, give him a chance.
Our support, I think, is the worst at first impressions. They'll have an opinion of a player.
We're all guilty of it right now.
There's some people that are worse than others. Because he missed a penalty and then a big chance at the end of that Livingston game, it's kind of stayed in people's mind. People are automatically... It's easy to call a player dud.
Yep.
To call a player a dud rather than support him.
Aye.
So
I think there's, yesterday I put up a tweet and there was a few people debating in the replies about whether or not he was good enough yesterday. I'm like, right.
He scored.
I'm like, he scored, he got his goal, did his job, but that's huge for the guy's confidence.
He's unlucky not to get an all.
I know, he had a couple, right after he scored, when he was through 1-on-1 with the keeper, he had a very good chance. Look, listen, in this run of games, when you've not got Kyogo and Daisen Maeda is going to be away on international duty, to get a goal in that match was vital for him, and that's coming up for this run of games, and I could be more happy for the guy.
Here's a question, right? Nothing to do with Yakimakis. See, Maeda, is it Maeda or Maeda?
Maeda, I think
because
it's Maeda.
All I'm hearing is commentators saying Maeda. And
It's Maeda.
I think it's Maeda. I'm just like, I tried changing it in my video the other day, if you've watched it, you don't know, but I went back to just saying Maeda at this moment in time, just because it's so ingrained into my head, but I need to get out of it, get into Maeda. But with him being away, I'm just chuffed for Yakimakis to get a goal, to be quite honest.
At least you're putting effort into changing sort of getting his name right. People are just calling Yakimakis the Greek.
Aye.
It's just so lazy.
Can't
I've
be
said it before. I've said it before in this podcast. It's just lazy, man. It's not even difficult to say.
Yeah.
Yakimakis.
Yeah, I know. And then right before half time, Liel Abada with a. But was it right before half time? Is my memory screwed? I was right before half time. Before half time, Liel Abada with a magnificent strike.
He's been choking for Larry all season. He has finally got it, man.
And it was like shades of, I put on Twitter, shades of Sinclair against Albion Rovers in the same round.
Not as good as that, to be fair.
That one was a screamer.
But
You're saying that was 5 years ago yesterday, man. It was just behind the goal for it.
Aye,
My
5 years ago.
God.
And it was so
Behind
funny
the
because
goal,
we were
because
right behind the
fucking-
goal and I was like, wide. Like, oh my God, it's in. But it was good for Liel Abada to put that in the net. Once again, a player who gets mixed reaction.
19 goal contributions in terms of goals and assists.
Some people don't think he's good enough.
What is it? Kent and Hadji have combined, is it 18, 17 or 18?
God knows,
Yeah.
no idea.
Abada for a 20-year-old. I mean,
Madness.
for a guy that's... He goes hot and cold,
Yep.
but at the same time, I know, I thought of that video.
Then you're
He scored
cold.
yesterday.
Did he?
He scored for
I
Dundee.
know.
I thought he was going. But, no, 19 goal contributions is incredible.
Yeah. Aye, and to put it away in the fashion he did, absolutely tremendous. God bless him. And 2-0 up at half time, quite commanding. But the second half, Ryan, a little to be desired. It wasn't the greatest half of football, was it?
No, especially when they scored.
Yeah,
which
that was a bit
awful.
I was like,
But we could talk about a lot of things before that goal.
Yeah.
We could talk about the assaults that were going on for our players.
Yeah, so
basically.
Barry Ferguson must have sent out his team with a memo to try and hurt us for the derby or such, because fuck me,
I fucking hate Barry Ferguson.
his face is just irritating, isn't it? It's just a really irritating face.
He just embodies everything about being them.
He's naming a person.
No, but when I think like the Rangers supporter, players like the proper, like obviously
Aye.
it's ones that they pure love because they're
Aye.
right into it. It's like him and McCulloch and all them.
Aye.
Like, they're proper, like, and fucking Kyle Lafferty who's
Aye.
signed back for Kelly now.
I come back at the fucking 10th time, 10th time come back.
Where they
Loves
fucked
to move
off on
back.
holiday this time? Was it Turkey?
Oh, God knows where he went. But he's back anyway. But Barry Ferguson's team, they really didn't want to leave many players standing. Callum McGregor, this is going to be one of the main chunks of the podcast. Christ almighty, right?
It looks like it's an orbital one.
I thought,
You associate with, what do you call it, with boxing injuries?
Yep.
That's how bad it is.
when he was down, I was thinking to myself, oh, good, it's just a wee face injury, he'll be alright. I was like, oh, he's standing, that's good. Oh, he's away. Oh, he's getting the armband to Joe Hart. Oh,
it's the picture you
he's
see
away.
of him.
And then you hear after the game, Ange saying, oh, this isn't good, this is going to be long term. Or not going to be short term, sorry. And then you've got Peter Grant. Peter Grant, don't know why Peter Grant, but he's quoting 6 to 8 weeks.
I know.
Which I'm not going to take Peter Grant's word for, but if you are looking at a 6 to 8 week injury for your captain and one of your star players after a ridiculous challenge, I'm very annoyed.
Is this not the same injury that Kevin De Bruyne had in the Champions League final?
I think so.
And then he came back and played for Belgium like 16 days later. I know he wasn't the same player.
Is
but
this the sort of thing where you need to wear one of them mad mask things, like when you're playing?
So he's going to be like
McGregor.
Rudiger when he had one. Did he not have one of them
He was a
masks on?
different player when he had a mask on.
He always. I'm really sceptical about him being out the team. It really kind of
We've seen it happen earlier on this season, and we felt it bits, but I think we've got a bit more strength in, even in strength in numbers now for
Yeah,
like options.
absolutely.
But we've got better quality in there now that hopefully it isn't as massive an impact, but to lose your captain, and especially when it's a player of CALLUM McGregor's technical ability and just general play, it's a huge miss, and it's a fucking bastard, man, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
It's a big loss. As in terms of a captaincy role, definitely. But the good thing is we've got Joe Hart there that's been acting as a captain the past 6 months as well.
Go
Very
on, Joe.
decent captain, I would
See,
say.
that's the
Very
thing.
decent
I'm
captain.
happy with Joe Hart getting the armband, but it's, the one thing I've always really been on board with is goalkeepers being captains.
Are you not a fan of that?
I don't know, because obviously
about
you think about Casillas and Buffon and that.
Some of the greatest captains in history.
I know, but it's just weird, like shouting fucking. You can't exactly, if you're in the midfield.
I feel like the captain should
midfield
always be in the middle.
logical, because
Aye.
you can then go about. If you're Joe Hart in goals, you're going to fucking sprint up and start shouting stuff to people.
Yeah, I think one thing that's always been the advantage for the likes of Buffon and Casillas, they were always surrounded by a team of leaders anyway.
Yeah.
There was always somebody. Casillas had Ramos ahead of him, then ahead of him you had, I don't know, Xabi Alonso, for example. Then ahead of him you have someone up front like Raul was there for so long. You have a team full of leaders. Then in Italy you've got Cannavaro in front of you.
There's
You've
nobody
got-
else in that team I'd give the armband to, like, really. In that
No,
starting
there's,
lineup.
well, there's one. I think one of the questions in the Twitter thing is who's your ideal
It will be
replacement
Joe Hart,
captain?
and I'm happy with it, but it's just
Decent, but I
It
mean,
raises the question, but
it's bittersweet for me.
Think.
Bittersweet, you know, McGregor out, but Joe Hart being the captain. It's a real bittersweet moment. But I mean, what were you going to say, Ryan?
I think if this injury was earlier on in the season, we would have been panic stations. There'd be even bigger panic stations just due to the fact that we hadn't got any replacements in, and because we hadn't really been playing Beaton as well. We'd only really been playing him as a centre half. He only came back into the team the past.
Beat on
2
somebody
months.
you could maybe say for captain.
Maybe,
but I mean,
aye.
I don't. I'd still much rather Joe Hart.
Aye. This is one of the reasons I hate playing the lower league teams. I just feel like the referees.
Hatchet, man.
Don Robertson had no hold of that game yesterday.
No, he didn't.
It was a very, and it's once again another example of very poor officiating in this country. But they don't get a hold of these games. Celtic Football Club are, of course, miles ahead of Arlo on every standard possible. The quality of player, everything. Celtic are miles ahead. But referees can't allow lower league sides to go out and just lash out the way they do against clubs like Celtic just because they're semi-pro, just because they're part-time. That shouldn't. I feel like they get some sort of special treatment because of it. Because there's, a red card yesterday. Richard Foster, he's saying he was adamant it's not a red
in his Air
card.
Jordans.
I mean, what in the name of how is that not? He nearly breaks Ideguchi's ankle.
I know.
He should be off the park. And Ideguchi's been through the door 5 minutes. That's another tackle we're going to come out to talk about. But these referees, I feel, in every single time you play one of these, they get away with murder every single time. And I feel what that sounds. But I know there'll be maybe Alloa fans who might click on, or there might be fans of part-time teams who might hear this and they might not agree, and they might be thinking, oh, entitlement and this, that, next thing. But the referees really need to hold the game to the same standard as they would if it was two professional sides. Or I just feel like it happens every single time, and it pisses me off.
Absolutely. At least Don Robertson's consistent in his views, because he should have sent Butcher off for an arguably worse tackle on David Turnbull.
That's right.
So at least he's consistent in his absolute incompetence.
Yeah, I feel like there's something. I mean, we've seen obviously Rangers lodged their 8-point complaint to the SFA earlier in the week
I
about.
think we had more of an excuse to lodge one than they
Yeah,
did.
yeah. But
Refereeing's just poor across the
Aye,
board for
very
every team,
poor.
but it's the fact we cannot go a fucking week in this country without there being some refereeing palaver. There's genuinely, there's always something to ponder about. I know it's subjective and people are always raging about something going against them, but it's not even as if it's everybody can sort of see, right, that's a terrible thing. It's no through tinted glasses or whatever. Anybody that looks at the situation rationally can see it's just shocking up here, and it's every single week now we've got something like going on, and it's just fucking, it's exhausting in this country with the actual poor standard of officiating.
I think Mikey Stewart, as much as I don't, it feels wrong saying Mikey Stewart being bang on, but he labelled the tackle yesterday as a leg breaker, and that's what it was.
He's typically bang on when it isn't involving an Edinburgh club.
Aye.
I've noticed his punditry seems to drop a level, I think, when capital teams come to play Celtic or Rangers. Well, obviously, I notice it more with Celtic.
But he's spot on about what he says with the tackle yesterday.
it's a leg breaker.
It's a leg breaker, and do you know what you're talking about? The referees there, Keelan. It just had me thinking. I am generally all for, and I would see if I was in a position where I was at a football club or I was an executive, I would be lodging for foreign officials to come back over to this country. I really think.
I mean,
we
it's
need
the debate that
full
always
revamp.
it comes up every couple of years now. I think people talk about foreign referees if it would be the answer on that. mean, obviously we had the referee strike, what, fucking 11 years ago or something, so...
That was 11 years ago, wow.
I know.
I think it was
Time's
11 years ago,
flying up.
maybe longer. Actually, might be coming up for 12. But aye. So, I don't know. It's nothing. I don't think it will ever happen.
No, but I generally think there should be serious
just-
consideration that a complete revamp of our
It's
our
whether, like,
system.
I think VAR up here, if it does come in, you wonder if it will even improve, because you've still got the same donkeys that are going to be in charge of it. Like, the same people that are in charge of the games now will just be able to make the decision wrong twice. And I know it's there to give them a fail-safe, or we'll go it wrong the first time, but I genuinely believe that these people will refuse to go back on calls they've made in the park. And it's just, I mean, you can give them the equipment, you can spend the millions to do it, but I just need confidence that the people that are going to get put in charge of it are going to be able to do it competently.
You're just watching it back there.
I'm just looking for consistency.
Yeah,
Like,
one
because
of-
you look
yeah.
at Porteous' challenge against Aribo, and that got sending off. There was no doubt about that from the referee.
Yep, it was straight over, red card out the pocket
And when you
straight
look
away.
at the two of them put together, I mean, you look at the way that Ideguchi's
The
leg
reason
goes.
the refs gave that is because Porteous has went fucking in at some speed, and obviously it's easier for them to like justify it to people that why you went straight for the red, because they've seen, oh fuck, he's went in fast, but it's still equally as poor a challenge. And fucking
It's a really, really, really poor tackle. He goes right through the player. There's no hesitation in what he's doing. Ideguchi is incredibly lucky to come out walking after that.
I know, and
Incredibly lucky.
he's just in the door 5 minutes.
5 minutes, and you'll be thinking to yourself, fuck me.
welcome to Scotland.
I know. It's a terrible sort of look as well for these new players coming in, trying to sort of make a living in a different league in a different country, and that's what they're faced with 5 minutes.
always
But
gonna
I'm
be
not
right,
saying
but-
that these tackles don't happen all across the world. It's
Yep.
just these tackles aren't getting punished
Yep.
the same way as they would in other
Yep,
countries.
yep, I agree.
And that's unacceptable.
Is there any word on Ideguchi?
He said he was going to be fine.
Yeah, so we're lucky on that front, and hopefully he'll be okay for the upcoming
See, that's what I
fixtures.
mean. Obviously, touching on the McGregor situation again, obviously it's going to be a huge miss with him being out, but when you look at, we've got the options now, beat on. I mean, it's a bastard Turnbull being out as well, but I mean, Rogic is missing, but you've got Hatate,
You've got
hopefully
O'Reilly.
Ideguchi's fine. O'Reilly, I'm really joking to see like him on
Yep.
Yeah, me
Wednesday.
too.
Yep, same. So we're not in the worst position. We're certainly in a better position now than what we would have been even, say, a month ago.
I don't think it's panic
But-
stations just yet.
but it's still, I mean, missing McGregor for that amount of time.
Huge.
I don't know if 6 to 8 weeks should be taken seriously. We'll wait for Celtic's official assessment of the player, and then I think we can have a proper reaction to that. But we are looking at not short term, I said, and that alone is a very not a scary thought, but it's just a very sort of
It's disheartening
nervy
because like, going into games, especially against Hearts and Rangers, I mean every game obviously, but I mean especially they two, because it's always it's a battle in midfield every game, and the game can be won and lost there obviously, but it's just when you've got something like McGregor, who I know it's the cliche gets it sort of thing, but when you're missing something like that for the middle of the park in the derby, it's against Hearts, I know, because Hearts are always right up for it. They'll have people in their team that they know the score, so it's just it's annoying because you're missing that sort of element as well as the actual technical ability in that. But I don't know. I think we'll make up for it.
Yeah, hopefully we do make up for it. In that game as well, Joe Hart made a massive save as well. Was a big fan of that. Decent. I just love Joe at the end of the game as well, taking the photo. I mean, I want an interaction with. I need him to come to Parkhead Tesco. I really do. I need an interaction with him. I just love him.
You'd see him coming from a mile away. The guy's massive.
He'll come for the closing down ceremony.
Imagine that. I'm standing there with my cigar, having a coke as I shut. Joe Hart.
that?
Are you shutting eye?
You're making sure you work your last shift in.
I'm making sure I. Right, imagine that. The other night we had somebody come up at like 2 minutes to 11. They're like, "Oh, I just want paracetamol," and they'll go, "No." Imagine Joe Hart came up and was like, "I'm just in for paracetamol. Can I run in?"
Decent. On
No.
you go.
No.
I'd turn them away for saying paracetamol.
Oh, I'm not getting it.
Paracetamol.
It's paracetamol.
No.
It's paracetamol.
Fuck off.
What do you say, Brick?
Paracetamol?
It's paracetamol.
It's
mate.
paracetamol.
It's paracetamol.
You're Tory?
Whoa, that's not having that. Yeah, it was brilliant to see Joe do that at the end of the game. Absolutely fantastic.
I was buckled. I was coming back for the toilet and I thought that she'd ran on the part and not even asked him for a photo. I looked up at the projector and the screen.
Excuse me, mate, can you take a
And
photo?
Joe Hart's stood there like that.
Did he have his gloves on when he was doing it? No, I took him off.
So this is new.
And it's nice to see, footballers help make memories like that, because I was actually, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but it's just kind of crossed my head over here. Did you see Ross County's statement during the week?
I
about.
didn't read it.
No, so Ross County launched out a statement because of the wee boys running on the park, right? And I just think it's very poor for a club like Ross County to be proper. You know, it's a community club. The kids are having a fun time.
What did they actually say?
They were basically like, oh, we're going to be like we'll ban you or whatever. I don't know what they exactly
Did
said.
you see Brighton got somebody arrested for one of their fans or something?
Did you see the video of it as well?
Aye, but the guy had never had any other option really. He was right up at the barrier sort of thing, and it was either going to get fucking crushed or so he had to jump there.
It's his mate that pushes
Aye,
him
he
onto the
gets
pitch.
pushed sort of thing, and he's getting arrested and that for jumping on the park. I'm like, he wasn't the one that willfully jumped onto the park. He was getting pushed.
Sake. No, but it's Ross County are a small club. These they're a small club, and these wee boys can easily go. Well, I want to support Celtic or Rangers, and they're going along to the Ross County games. They're paying the money. They're going.
The wee bastards.
They're pricks anyway.
Did you see the video?
But it's just really, really fucking weird from Ross County to proper go the way they did. It's just. Come on, man.
And they also employ a racist.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I know we did, but they've got theirs as manager.
Aye. So yeah, absolutely tremendous stuff from Joe yesterday, and a win. We're 5 out of 5 for Ange. We're through to the next round in the cup. It's Rafe Rovers in the next row, and we were watching the draw obviously in the pub as well. And I generally thought it was Rangers that we drew just when I seen the number come out. 1 number away. But no bad. Any other thoughts about yesterday's game before we kind of move on?
Callum Beaton used to hang his fingernails, man.
Get a scrump for them, man. Get a good old
brush
fashioned
under them, man.
bristles and all the rest of it.
Lanky bastard.
I know that was just.
See if you're going to be bold enough to put a video on Twitter when you're doing the draw, holding your nose at the Sellik fans, make sure your fingernails are clean.
I think that's one thing.
Especially when the entirety of you being on the screen, on the telly, is you holding your horn up like that.
He was trying to get the Rod Stewart part, did you see?
I know.
Aye. At least have a drink in you if you're going to try it. So
I believe that was 5 years ago. That's crazy.
Oh.
That was the Albion Rovers.
That was after that.
Stop,
Rod Stewart,
please.
mental.
Oh,
I mean, Elton
God.
John's been in there too,
Aye,
but,
aye. Elton John's done the rounds. McDermott Park, Eldridge
he loves
Stadium.
a shout.
Aye, he loves a wee stadium tour.
What's it called? Harry Styles going to
Ibrox. Christ, there's one we've not spoke about this week. Yeah, Harry Styles at Ibrox. It's just a bit weird, isn't it? You'd think Hampden, but no, Ibrox.
His Baroness Thatcher tweet came out as well.
That's right.
I'm surprised
is it Mitski as well?
Aye.
Mitski
I was surprised that James Bay
What?
wasn't the support act because he was singing. Was it Simply the Best? He was singing at Transmit a couple of years ago.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
I don't forget these things. Yeah, I've boycotted him.
You left him.
He's on the banned list.
It's like who's that video? Is it Liam or Noel singing the Sellik song?
See, it's just sound people.
Just well, I mean, when they say sound.
Well, Liam is, no, isn't.
I can't remember what one it is that's singing it, to be fair.
Liam's a sound man.
Is he the one singing the Sellik song?
I thought you said you were getting mixed up with
No, I don't know what one sings a Sellik song though. I can't remember. It's like somebody's shouting it. He's like, Glasgow Celtic or whatever. They start singing. It's a grand old team. It's good. It's nice fun. Right, let's talk about midweek a wee bit then and how we kind of go into that. We have Hearts. And we go into that game obviously light of Callum McGregor. We'll go back and imagine playing one of our strongest teams. Tynecastle is a massive test for us to see how we've progressed as a team from that opening game of the season to the point we're at now. Kieran, we were talking about it a little bit in the pub last night. You know, that this isn't going to be easy, but you were the one that kind of, brought that up about how, this is probably going to be the kind of perfect test for us.
It's the perfect thing to measure yourself against, especially when it's the place you went. It's always a tough venue for every Celtic side that's went there. Hearts are always right up for it. I mean, so are the Celtic players, to be fair, but I mean, at Tynecastle, or the fans, it's one of the games that you look forward to in a sense, but at the same time you dread it because it's a tough place to go. But if we got beat there in the first game of the season, obviously we had the goal wrongfully chopped off in that, and another game with poor refereeing. But I mean, I feel like that's every game throughout the league. But I don't know, it's one of the ones you want to go and see how we are now compared to them, because back then it was a very raw team. I read an article and it was Ange talking about Kyogo would literally just go in that day. He'd had lunch with the team and then he put him on the bench. Starfelt was just was very raw, and that was what we're talking about, the first impression sort of thing. Like he had a very shaky game, if you will, at
Yep.
Tynecastle, and a lot of people sort of just went off that and ran with it, sort of thing.
Aye.
But I feel Hearts is definitely the perfect test, because if we lost the first game of the season, we've now got the chance to right the wrongs. So hopefully we do.
And it's also, big for us, Ryan, to keep this kind of vein of form going. I know we've only came back and played a couple of games, but with Rangers dropping points, which the last podcast we done was before the Rangers dropped points, was
When
it? When was
did
it?
they
When was the
drop?
last podcast?
I know, we done it on last Sunday, and then they played on Wednesday or Thursday with
with Aberdeen.
Wednesday.
So but this was before.
No, Tuesday.
So
They played midweek.
They played Tuesday. So the last podcast we done, we've not even spoke about that. We've not even spoke about. So this is a good time to touch on that. Rangers, since the last podcast, have dropped points. We started off well, 2 wins out of 2 coming back from this break. We have closed that gap in Rangers. We've cancelled out that result against St Mirren. So it was massive for us. We've got to understand the importance now of winning against Hearts. Once again, I'm not too bothered about the performance.
No,
Just as long as we go out and we need to keep this
Every
now. We need
game's a
to
must
keep.
win.
See if we get in within one game of them, like one game of difference. So there's no 3, 2, 1 point. Ryan, that's massive for us.
is anybody's league in that at that point?
Yep.
You see, aye,
It would then come down to the games against them.
Yep.
And I know we're still a couple of weeks away. We've got 2 games before we get to that, but I can't stress the importance of we need to turn up for that derby game, because we've let too many passes by in the past 2 years, and if there's any time to start getting the wins in again, it's right now. Because if we want to show we're serious about pushing this all the way to the end, we cannot afford a single slip up.
And it's equally as important against Hearts, of course.
absolutely, because they're not going to drop points against Livingston. Let's be honest.
Yep,
Livingston,
never do it.
they always
David
lie down.
Martindale.
Let's be honest, they always lie down against Rangers.
I'm not
They're
going to
quite-
throw any accusations about it.
Aye,
Quite
but
harsh.
if that terrorist dares.
Oh, he is, but he's,
But you're right.
he's a
You look,
footballing
you
criminal.
look at Rangers' next 2 fixtures, Livingston and Ross County. They are 2 games that you would assume
You'd assume, yeah.
6 points.
See, that's the
Meanwhile,
thing,
we've
we've
got
got-
Hearts.
We've got a significantly harder run for the next wee while, but it also leaves us in a situation where if the top 6 stays the same as it is right now, technically we should have 5 home games in the split. They won't do that. They'll make us play away from home once or twice, but technically, the way it's gone, played away to all the teams in the top 6 twice.
Yep.
By the time the split rolls in, so we're getting the hard ones out the way now. But I don't know how it's going to work for Rangers in the split, if they will have Maisley away games or whatever. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
You know how that'll turn out.
It's still a while away, but
Yep.
Depends where we are on the table.
But
I know.
that Hearts is just Robbie Nielsen, 3rd place. It
Done a
has.
great job.
He's doing a fantastic job this season. It has got all the makings of one of those games you really don't want to play, but I feel like it's better to try and get a test in. It's better to try and challenge ourselves leading up to this game, and I think Hearts will present that. That they're a strong side. They've got a very tough to beat goalkeeper as well, as we know. It won't be easy, but if we get through that, I'll honestly feel far more confident heading into that derby.
you'll have the confidence behind you at that point. But then you just need to keep getting the results on a consistent basis. And obviously Dundee United next weekend. I mean, I know we'll have the podcast on Thursday, won't we?
Aye,
So we don't need to look ahead to that now.
It's one of those ones, I think, not to sound too presumptuous, but I think if we deal with Hearts, then Dundee United will just come with that as well.
Hopefully.
Where-
I'm not holding anything like that,
And
because Dundee United
I'm actually
held
quite.
us out for a draw.
I'm quite nervous
I know.
as well. Do you know why? Because it's the first time in a long time that I will not be sitting in 4-1-2.
Oh dear, why are you doing that?
It's my dad's 75th, the big day. So we're going to. I hope he's not listening to this pod. He won't be listening to this podcast. So I've decided, you know what? Going to treat the old man. Going to take him to hospitality.
Brilliant.
So we're going to hospitality for. He doesn't know yet. Surprise him tomorrow. It's his birthday tomorrow. We'll
God
take.
bless Stevie.
Everyone to go to Ryan's Dolomite and chap it and spoil it before.
So we're going to hospital. I'm taking him to hospitality, and it'll be the first time I've been to a game with my dad since Ronnie Dyer's last game. So this is the first time that I've not sat in 4-1-2 in 6 years, which is absolutely crazy. So I'm not a believer in superstition. I don't believe it exists. I don't believe in jinxing. I don't believe in
I don't
any
wear
of that
I don't
nonsense.
wear certain taps to the games again if we get beat.
I don't believe in a lot of that nonsense. But I am quite nervous just because I'm not in 4-1-2 and because I'm sitting in fucking comfy seats. And to be fair,
The
to be
last time you watched the
fair,
last time you watched the game, it wasn't 4-1-2. It was July.
oh well, sorry.
In a full
Forgot that. In a full stadium, yes. I forgot though, because there's one advantage that comes with this. Me and my dad have been to, umpteen Celtic games together over the years. We've been to, quite a lot. I think we've only ever seen us get beat 2 or 3 times, which is mad. And the last time I was at a game with him, I was sitting in the comfy seats in the Jockstein end. So that was a 7-0 win that day. Could it be a 7-0 again? I don't know. But, you know, as you said, you think the Dundee United kind of comes with that. I would go into the Dundee United game feeling fairly comfortable, but I think every game presents its own challenge, its own sort of difficulties. And we'll assess that when it comes to Saturday, as long as we get past Hearts first.
All eyes have to be on Hearts.
All eyes on Hearts at the moment, you know. Talking about team selection, what do you think Andrew will do with it? Do you think he'll return to the strongest side? I mean, we've not spoken. I think one thing we've got to touch on this podcast, which is massive, that we haven't touched on yet, there was a potential 5 players to be going away. Was it 5 or 6? There was the 4 Japanese players, Kamika, Vickers and Rogic. So there was 6 players that could have potentially been going away in international duty, and in the end only 2 out of the 6 are going.
That's not bad.
I think that is a lot better than what it could have been, you know. So we do have players available.
I mean, we've also got the problem with Kyogo being injured.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know, I feel like in the past it's been made, Andrew's made it out worse than it actually is, and he's ended up coming back, so I'm mad surprised. But I don't know if doing that is what keeps getting these injuries, because he's bringing him back, we get short-term gain, and then he's out again for weeks, so I don't know. It's time for players to step up.
It is annoying the games that we've lost these players in. I mean, Kyogo redone his injury against
on
Betis.
Boxing Day.
Or Betis, and then Boxing Day.
He played the final, and then he came back for the final, and then he played in Boxing Day. He didn't play
against Betis, did he?
He came on, then came off.
Oh, that's right.
He didn't play against St Mirren, I don't think.
St Mirren's the game I'm thinking of.
Then he played him at St Johnstone when we were hit with COVID and that, and that he came off after like 23 minutes for that Dawson. Was it Dawson? Is Dawson
Joey
English
Dawson.
boy? Aye.
So, you know, we'll see. He might be available, but we do have a decent squad to play around with. Giacomakis, do we think he'll start again? Do you think he'll get a chance against Hearts?
I think this is a good game for him as well, because it's going to be quite physical.
It's going to be physical, and I think also it's a game where you're utilising his strengths in terms of, you know, he's a bigger guy. I think he'll be in that area on the receiving end of many, many crosses. We're going to be utilising the players down the left and right hand sides. So I think that, you know, Hearts could be the sort of, as you said, the perfect sort of game for him, Ryan.
Yeah. He needs to work in his headers, though, I would say. He's better at finishing with his feet than he is with his head. There was a couple of good chances he had against Alloa that he should have scored with his head.
I just assumed he would have been a pure class header because of his stature on that, but
I hope he comes good, I really do.
I think he will. I think he will. Again, otherwise, you know, I think that basically you'll see the same standard team. Juranovic back in, for example.
Oh, absolutely.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Ralston had a bit of a stinker yesterday.
Yeah.
He wasn't great at all.
There wasn't any really highlights of the game for him, I think.
No.
See, just with skills, man, like he's ball into the box.
What a terrific delivery. There is a genuine conversation as to Taylor skills, I think. I don't see.
I'm glad that.
I don't think there's a massive gulf between the two.
I'd start Scales tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Sorry, Wednesday.
Would you?
Aye.
Would you start him?
Greg Taylor defensively just doesn't do it for me.
He did have a problem in the last game we played against Hearts at Tynecastle in terms of his height.
That's right.
Having Scales there, he's a wee bit taller than him, so not a wee bit.
I think there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast as well who would say Scales. I think there's a big following for Scales.
It sounds like people have got to put in, myself included, have got this thing against Greg Taylor, which I'm not going to say I'm his biggest fan, but because he put a decent few balls in that, like against Hibs on Monday, but defensively we're left wanting because I'm not convinced with Greg Taylor defensively.
As we said in the last podcast with that contract extension, that was obviously a bit questionable, but this 6 months, because we've not signed a left back, is massive for him, so he needs to really impress us, I think, over the next 6 months.
Because I've seen people like rumours floating about they were still interested in getting in a left-sided defender, but I think we'll get one before the...
Nah, I think we're running it a bit fine now. I think you'd usually hear a rumour pop up now. 23rd, so there is time, there's still a week.
Because we talk about
week tomorrow.
Monty going out to...
Oh, let's talk about Montgomery going to Kilmarnock, that's right.
Kilmarnock?
Talking about going there.
For him.
Derek McInnes, decent enough manager. Ryan, I'm going to ask you to do a favour at this point. Can you lock your phone? It's Give Me the Fear.
Aye. It's got the quiz on it.
It's Give Me the Fear. Number one, I don't want to get accused of cheating because I see the quizzes lying there, but number two, just an unlocked phone. Oh.
You see, because I do Just Eat deliveries, I always keep it on. It's like a constant on. Just so I can see directions and stuff.
I get you. But yeah, no, I'll be good on Wednesday. I wish we were able to go to these games. I'm not.
Like 1,000 tickets.
Exactly. I'm not one of the ones that complain about the away ticketing system. It is what it is. But I do really wish that I want my life just to be Celtic home and away all the time. just every game.
They've obviously cut the allocation because we never gave them anything back in.
Yep.
Was it August we played them at Sellik Park?
That's
September.
right. Well, they gave us nothing for the opening game of the season, mind. They gave us absolutely nothing.
I mean, that was because it wasn't a full stadium, but
Oh, that's right. It was not a full stadium. Correct. Sorry.
It's been a long season.
It's been a lot, mate. This season feels like it's went on an eternity. I think the return of genuine title challenges.
how many games have been played now?
So if we look at the Premiership table, 21 games have been
21.
played. So there's still a remainder of
17.
17 games, which is quite crazy.
Going to be old and grey by the end of this, man.
My hair's already falling out, man. It's already
Big
thinning. Right, Ken, you don't need to rub it in, mate. Right.
Did you say you want to grow your hair long?
Yes, I do. I think I'd suit it.
See,
Not like John Lennon long, although I would
No,
love
I
that.
suggest my suggestion last night. I was like, what if you just one day puts on a wig and just doesn't acknowledge that he's wearing a wig, and everybody keeps saying, but everybody's in too awkward a position to say, is he wearing a wig, and then it's just sort of gets left, and then next thing you know, if it's just this open secret that it's a wig, but you think nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I
Did
just
you that Paul Higgins? You know the guy that's in Celtic Park with the curly wig. You know the one that was spotted at the Celtic Rangers game. The one with the pure obvious curly wig.
I think I know it. It's
The
ringing.
tash.
It's ringing bells.
Aye,
Aye.
It was
I know
like
you're
as soon as he
talking
got
about-
transported into the.
Aye. Do you know what I always laugh at is that I think he's a Conservative MP. The guy with or there's like some sort of political commentator or something. He's always on like the news and he's got like that blonde hair.
Oh, it looks so fake.
He looks like Mr. G from Summer Nights.
I was going to say that.
It's fucking tremendous, honestly. Every time I see it, I can't help but piss myself laughing. Like, it cannot be real. Like, there's no chance that's real. But maybe one day I'll start a video where we're going and tell nobody. But I want to grow my hair a wee bit. I'm just fed up with the thinningness. If that's a word. What else is it to
You're
talk
going to
about?
have hell at Robbie Nielsen if you go out, man.
Did we do a podcast after the Hibs game?
No.
No.
I just want to talk about how good Hatate was.
Oh,
His debut.
I've got to. I'll let you go, mate. Cause I've been raving about him all week in the channel, but you two really haven't had a platform yet.
It's quality.
You know, you just know within 5 minutes if somebody's a player or not of his quality. You're like,
That's what I thought about fucking the first impression thing. It's what we know
aye,
straight away. Fuck
but if it's in a positive light, it's totally fine, I guess. But there was a point where he drifts past midfielder. He does a wee turn, like I was just beautiful.
Brilliant. He has real shades of prime Landry Nguemo. It's fantastic. He is.
I was wondering where you were going there with Prime, and then you came out with Landry Nguemo.
He just his passing, his vision. Look, it was like a combination of Andre Pirlo and Paul Scholes and just all these centre mids in the one, mate. He's all got his eyes, but
Let's not cuss the boy.
let's not cuss the boy. But
And Shinsuke Nakamura, according to Chick Young.
aye, that's right.
Wonder why that is. Fucking idiot, man. Should.
Oh, Chick Young.
But Angela good reply.
Oh.
He literally is just that only an excuse character. They got it spot on with
If
him.
it was not for only an excuse, I'd have no idea who Chick Young is. I literally have no clue.
I listen to Sports Sound that before I go to the games.
I don't. I'd never listen to it. My dad listens to it someday. I'd honestly have no clue. But it's just,
Pat Bonner.
it's
man.
hilarious how different Chick Young actually is for his voice. I always imagine Chick Young would sound like Chick Young here,
It does sound a bit like
reporting Scotland. That's what I
See
thought.
if you meet him in a press box or something, you just got that.
Oh, Chick Young. She's just sitting there like, fuck off.
I thought the three new signings were good.
I thought the three have been decent so far, decent
Maida
shows.
got his goal. Ideguchi looked good for the 16 minutes he was on, and I thought he was good against Aller.
I feel like Ideguchi's got the blessing of being the one of the three that's came in and not being the most hyped up. I feel like he'll be allowed to just play his own game, and like, I think that's only going to benefit him. I mean, he's back here with something to prove after he's like bit of a failure at Leeds, but
Yep.
I mean, I think he has got that on his side. Everybody's placed the expectation on Maeda and Hatate, so I think he's just going to be allowed to get by with
Do
it
his
getting
thing.
too much in.
The way Ideguchi goes about the park, he reminds me of Stefan Johansson a wee bit. The way he kind of jumps when he runs, he's kind of jumpy like Johansson, and I love Johansson.
Nah, we had that one season.
See that 13-14 season with Beaton and
Tremendous.
Johansson?
Aye.
Beautiful.
Tremendous. The streets will not forget.
Certainly
You know
won't.
what I'm
They
choking
won't.
to see, man? A beat on long shot, man. Like that
I know.
tap bins.
Well, he's tried a couple,
I know.
and they've not been great.
Big idea.
I think-
pocket.
I think it's still somewhere in that locker of his, man.
Aye, he just needs that confidence. He needs it. Just that.
What's
wee
the best
edge.
long shot you've seen? Like in
Ever?
person?
In person? Kieran Tierney.
Aye,
Easily Kieran Tierney.
But I mean,
Rooney's
if
was
it,
good as well.
if
In
it was
person?
if it was just in general, if it was just in general, but it would have been Nakamura obviously against Rangers, just to cover on the ball.
I wasn't at the game.
That's what I'm saying. In
Just,
general,
just in
like,
general, Nakamura. Aye.
Aye,
I thought I had to be at
that's
the
ridiculous.
game.
I know. I
Nakamura.
was staying beef. That's what I'm saying. But
right.
in person, that Tierney one against.
There's also been obviously.
Come on, look.
There's obviously been a few Ronaldo free kicks on the time. I thought, can we count like?
See the
I do you know what actually. My answer's Rooney's not. So Rooney's scored for the halfway line 4 times in his career, but I think the best out of all 4 is one that was scored in a friendly, and he scored. It was for Everton, and I think it was against some Chinese team. And fucking
There's 2
hell,
things
man.
that stand out for me. One was Ronaldo's one against Arsenal. That was just ridiculous how far out that was. But then was it Daniel Agger against Chelsea?
Yep.
Was it him? And that was just
Pure knuckleball.
Was
it just pure caught the goal with it.
Alex scored a screamer
Oh,
against
yeah.
Liverpool in the
Chelsea
Champions League.
defender,
Aye,
aye.
against
Aye.
Liverpool in the Champions League. That was a topper. God, football
That game was
heritage,
what
man.
was the score in that game at Stamford Bridge? Was it not like a 3 each?
Oh,
or
it was
4 each or
mad.
something?
Aye, it was something.
That was prime ITV Champions League football.
the
Clive
good old,
Gumsley.
the fucking good old
Brilliant
days.
man, phenomenal.
Fucking
That was when
tremendous.
ITV and Sky Sports
Aye,
shared it.
they shared it.
For
I
BT.
wish it was still like that. I just wish all the football was in both BBC and STV because the coverage is just better in
You
both.
really are an old man, aren't you?
How?
You just.
I'm not
I want
buying that.
everything in BBC and ITV.
I will buy that fucking TV license.
43 pence a day. What does it get me?
BBC Radio
In terms of-
Gaelic. Mate, that's what gets you.
In terms of long shots, Ronaldo's against Porto was good as well.
Yeah,
That was a
aye.
free kick though.
Yep,
But,
still a long
or
shot.
anything that Ward Prowse has touched this season.
Yes,
What a player.
Ward Prowse, what a player. Right, let's get back on to talk about Sellik. Let's get on to the final couple of segments of the show. Ryan McGinley, I'll let you load up the Twitter questions. While you
Yeah.
do so, I will fill
And
the...
we've got a quiz.
And we've got a quiz. We managed to get one. Matthew Duff, the absolute legend. I'll fill the void while Ryan gets these questions up with some general chit chat. Try to think of a fun question to throw in. Team guy skier came out today.
I'm gonna
130
need to get that.
130
I like your track top. It's
pounds.
70 quid for the tap. I'm going to get the bottoms, but
Bottoms are pretty upstairs in the forge.
the whole thing is upstairs
I know
in the
what you're
forge.
on about.
Yeah, you should know what I'm on
Everybody
about.
should know.
Everybody should know.
I think they've got some of the original stuff.
Upstairs in the forge, man. That's where if you know, you know.
Yeah, you'll get a,
Here's how I want it.
Benfica track or something.
What a legend.
Adwarium.
This is how I want to fill the gap, and it's not the first time I've had to do this on this podcast this season, but I'm going to have to do it one more time, and I'm probably going to have to do it numerous times. Last week we received several complaints in the comment section about our language, about how our choice words were used. Look, listen, I'll make it abundantly clear, as I have many fucking times. If you don't like your swearing and you don't like the language and it's not for you, there's probably no fucking point watching the podcast. We're not going to change it. This podcast was started by myself, by Kieran, by Ryan, by Callum Craig, so we could have a platform to talk about Celtic the way we want to talk about Celtic. We don't want to be like the MSM. We don't want to talk like the MSM. And yes, maybe some of us on this panel do have ambitions in working in the MSM one day. Maybe somebody does want to be on Sky Sports. Maybe somebody does want to be in BT Sport, whatever. That will come one day. I'm feeling...
This isn't Sky Sport.
This isn't
Abundantly
it.
clear.
Let's make that abundantly clear.
It's the fact that people are, I'm watching my lanes, send it me in another fucking room, man. I don't care.
And look,
Put headphones in.
I had, and somebody had the cheek to put in the comments. And look, listen, if you feel like if you're still listening through the language, and you think I'm targeting you and saying this, I'm not necessarily, but I'm going to be. It's pretty fucking clear, I think, that this video and all my videos are set as not for kids. I don't advertise this product for children, and I never have.
But people are, there's Waynes watching this podcast. How naive do you have to be to think that Waynes are sitting bubbling there swearing or that? It's words. Like,
These are the Waynes playing GTA.
it's like,
5
see,
years ago, going to strip clubs and that.
the Waynes go to school. They hear swear words every day. They probably, you might not think your Wayne swears, but see when they go to school, oh boy,
You'd been for a rude awakening. No, but people like, oh, my Wayne's listening to this and all that. Listen,
your Wayne needs to learn the swear words at some point. We're just filling the void.
Actually teach them vocabulary.
I have never advertised
Bankers.
this. I've never advertised this as a product for children. It never has been, and it's marked as not for kids on YouTube. I can't control what you let your child watch or what your child is watching. If they happen to watch and enjoy it, they're just going to have to sit through the language. If you do not like the language, then I don't know if you've made it to 50 minutes of this podcast. But we're never going to change anything about ourselves.
I don't get, but it's only a few people that do it, but it's definitely older ones. I'm like, they see, but I don't get, but it's like the older generations make it this one to be fucking soft and all that. You don't hear the younger generations bubbling about a few fucking swear words.
Although I
man.
will give a shout out to my pals for the CALLUM CSC in 412. All the time when I'm walking up and down the stairs, I speak to a couple of them, walking up and down, and the old fella, I love him. He filled me up, and I do you know what? I'll take a telling off him. I like him. He can give me a telling, but he watches anyway. So if you're watching, I'll see you not Dundee United. I'll see you at the Old Firm. You can pull me up then when I'm half cut.
He'd probably pull you up for using that term as well.
What term?
Old Firm.
Oh well, true. But no, listen. Like, I'm never gonna. Look, one day I'm perfect. Like I've got faith in everybody that contributes to this podcast working for somebody big. One day I can see these two beside me working at a big platform, and when they do so, they'll do so, and they'll do it with the words that you want them to use. But if you think that other pundits and that, if the pundits had the ability on the television to do it, they would be doing it just as much as us. Trust me.
This is just more authentic.
Yeah.
We're just being ourselves.
This is how football fans talk.
That's like, see,
Your mind goes to the. We swear at referees every 5 fucking minutes.
I know they'll say that, and then they'll explode next to the wee boy at the game shouting out,
Clancy! Fucking shambles.
No, but see what I don't get, like, see in other countries and that, like, they're allowed to swear on the telly.
Nah, did
like,
you see Jamie Carragher? I love that one. Have you ever seen him? He's on Danish television. The guy's
that's the one that was in my mind.
Did
But
you
it's like
swear?
all the players can say what they want in Germany and all that,
Yep.
and like you see it, like Haaland, he always shit.
Aye.
But
It's just here.
I know.
Sensitised for no reason. I love that. And Billy Connolly is just fantastic, obviously. He's the greatest of all time. Fucking incredible. And he's got so many different skits and jokes about swears and people using... And he sums it up perfectly, like swearing, and he always talks about how his favourite word in the world is fuck. You know, like, fuck off. He loves it. And he's right. We're Scottish. We're typically Scottish, and we're going to swear. That's how it goes. And look, if you don't like it, I do apologise, but I don't apologise. So...
There we go.
And that will take us nicely on to the final couple of segments of the show.
Yep.
We'll start with the Twitter questions. Ryan McGinley, feel free to fire them in.
Okay, so Aaron Smith, he's back in Twitter.
Oh, is it back? Was he away?
He was away because
Because
he said he
he
would donate his
deactivate.
account if Connor Salmon scored, and he did score. But he's back. But he changed his bio to talk about that fact.
That
Saying,
Aaron Smith.
my legacy is forever tarnished by underestimating the footballing ability of Connor Salmon. Love that. So he asks, which current Celtic player is most likely to have an anonymous Twitter account that we all follow but have no idea who's behind it? Examples being Spunk Phone, Alpha Kaiser, etc.
Can we use Neil Lennon and Siamese Boy?
No, that's what I was going to say. Just a player.
Which current Celtic player?
I think.
Which current set?
I could see Ralston wising people up.
Aye.
I could see Mikey Johnson,
Mikey
on,
Johnson.
on Twitter with tear-filled eyes.
I
Watch
think he's
him.
not on Twitter. I mean, I think he is, but
Oh
it's
Christ!
a hard place for him.
I don't
It's
know.
hard out
Who's
here.
up to mischief? Who's up to mischief? See,
Maybe Juranovic
I was
as
about to
well.
say somebody like Juranovic, maybe.
He'd just be a cat. Maybe he's Siamese
His
boy
boy maybe
because he
is.
likes cats.
Maybe. I don't know. It's a good question. Greg Taylor.
Oh, that's another one. It should have been on
Greg
Twitter.
Taylor,
man.
somebody like Vanguard Bears. It's just one of the
You
fucking.
need to watch yourself with Greg Taylor. You're probably telling off.
I know. I do what I'm going Greg Taylor. Fuck it. There's my answer.
Fair enough.
Greg Taylor is Chris McLaughlin.
He's just one of these characters.
He's what's it called? Joe Black.
Nah, he's Joe Black. That's it.
That guy's unhinged.
Unhinged.
He is an actual lunatic, man.
Aye,
Yes.
he is. He's just.
Same with that
bizarre.
Chris McLaughlin. He's a fucking weapon, man.
Oh, because too many. Who would you say, Ryan? Who's your answer?
Probably Juranovic. I think he's acclimatised really quickly. I could see him
Okay,
being a part of it.
fair enough.
So Shay asks, Beaton, Hatate, O'Reilly for the Celtic Rangers game or something different?
I suppose if the next two games will be an indication, we'll get to see where.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit early to be making the.
Well, I
starting
think
lineup
that's one to
predictions.
assess in the next because for all we know, one of them could drop away with an injury. So
I don't know.
I don't.
I can't
honest,
fucking
probably will
take
happen,
it, man.
Touch wood, touch that big giant plank of fucking wood. Bang. Yeah. Okay. I like how we all did actually touch that there.
I wanted to actually see what it felt like, man.
Yeah, it's like actual proper wood.
To see, what,
Wow.
to see what friction felt like. You know?
Right, next one.
I think we've already answered that from Cal. Cal, we answered this question last week. Remember the guy?
What was the question?
TikTok.
Oh,
TikTok.
aye.
How happy are you with the international departures compared to what it could have been? I think we are.
Oh, well, yeah, we
Especially
touched on
Carter
that, yeah.
Vickers,
2 out of 6.
I was never really that worried about Carter Vickers going away. I mean, it was unlikely, but I mean, when you've seen like Morelos and all these other players getting recalled to squads, you think, oh fuck, you don't want that happening.
So
But
why is Carter Vickers not being called up?
I don't know. Looking at
don't know who's in this.
looking at their defences, I don't know who half of them are, but obviously
Is
they
it
must
Brooks
just.
and somebody else?
Matt McKenzie's there.
McKenzie's
He's
there.
there.
The one that
What
got
could have
away.
been?
What could have been?
Is he
he's
getting
there.
his game?
I don't know.
Say that as if you're
He's
a-
been called up,
Jim-
but who's it supposed for? Genk?
Genk, I think. Genk
Genk
or
or
Gent.
Gent.
One of the
Oh,
two.
one of the two, get mixed up.
Um,
I think it is,
but I'm pretty pleased that it's only 2 out of the potential 6. I would have rather it been none, but to be 2 out of 6, I'm not too bad. Yeah, he plays regularly. He's played in the Europa League.
I've seen a bit of debate about this on Twitter. I don't know if it came out. I think it did. £30 for a adult ticket to the Bodo Gump game. What's your opinions on that? Because I've seen people like pure defend it, go, that's actually alright. I'm like, I've seen we're paying £24 for a Europa League group stage game. You can then say, oh, it's knockouts. We've also dropped in a competition.
It's a bit steep.
I think they could have kept it 24 and people couldn't
Yeah.
have complained. I mean, some people would have complained just for the sake of it, but
As well, you want to
season
fill the stadium, right? You want to fill that stadium to the rafters. You want to pack it out. But in the early stages of a conference league, it's not the most attractive game in the world, and they're charging £30.
I think that's
Especially
a
not
piss
now.
take.
Patrick Berg isn't playing.
Yeah.
No, but I don't get it. Like, I've seen people pure defend that. I'm like, why are you willingly accepting £6 more for that? But it just doesn't make sense. I think 24 they could have kept people happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you could encourage more people to do it. But that's the thing, they're still going to get guaranteed money off it everybody on the home cup scheme. So that's about 25,000-30,000 right there.
You know, we're still going to pay the money, aren't we? We're still going to go. So,
No, we've not got a choice no matter. The bastards take it out of the bank on the
yeah,
30th
we're
of
the
January.
same. My dad and I are the same.
Good question, though. Good question. Only just wanted a wee bit of chat.
Aiden asks, will Mr. 118 ever bring back WWE 2K roster predictions?
Aidan,
The
faithful
new one's
member,
looking good.
faithful member of the Easter House CSC. Look, listen, I would say yes, but the problem is I don't even know half the fucking roster now, so I couldn't predict.
Half of the roster
How
in
many
the
views
game
did
aren't
that
even.
I think it's close to like 100k.
It's an
nuts.
incredible
It's
video.
second
It's incredible.
second viewed video on the channel, which is just mad.
Your first one's the Grace.
Aye,
video,
Grace
isn't it?
clip, aye. But
It's bad that I know that.
Yeah,
I always
That's
click
been
most
stolen
of
off
them.
every Facebook
I
page.
know. I'm fucking. Where's my
Respect
credit? But if I was to try and, it would have to be AEW roster predictions because I don't watch WWE anymore. I only watch AEW really, and also WWE have just a very weird roster, and they've released half of it.
But that's
So-
the thing. All those people will still be in the game.
Which is good because there's a lot of good people that will still be in the game that aren't with the company anymore. It's honestly mad when you turn on an episode of like SmackDown, apart from like the main event and maybe like some of the title stuff. There's people coming out and I'm like, who the fuck's this?
NXT's even worse.
NXT, mate. What is NXT? What is it? I don't get it at all.
Gunther Stark.
Gunter, yeah.
Look his name up.
No,
That's the
right,
first
so
one that comes up.
how funny is this, right? So
This is mental.
though there's this Austrian guy in
Volta.
WWE, right? He's called Volta, right? And he's built as this like very sort of typically German guy, fucking, you know, big guy, and he comes out to that sort of, what's the song? It's like the do 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 do. It's an orchestra and all that. It comes out this
Something like
black
Moby
weight,
Dick or
and he
something
wears
like
this big long black trench coat, right? And the other day, like Vince McMahon, you could tell was absolutely lost it because the match ends and he goes, the winner of this match was Gunter, and he's changed his name from Volta to Gunter.
Gunther Stark.
Gunter Stark.
Now, if you look up Gunther Stark's name, he was a Nazi in World War II.
Vince McMahon has lost the fucking plot, man.
He's always been unhinged.
You know, so great. I'm just, you know, keep going. It's a character I can invest in. You know? Right, next question.
Brandon asks, do you seriously think we can still win the derby with Kyogo, Maeda, Rogic, Turnbull and Kalman
Yes,
out?
but we'll deal with it when they come out.
Yes, because they've not got a Rebo.
Yeah,
And
and Morelos.
I would like to send my best wishes to Nigeria. I really do hope they go on and win the whole thing.
What's the script book? Because people are making it as if he's going to be missing it regardless, but surely if Nigeria get put out, he'll be back.
Aye.
Like, but obviously, people are expecting Nigeria to go quite far in that. But like,
They're one of the best teams in it.
but the way they're talking is if he would have to do an isolation period or something, because the way it is, he's definitely no back. I'm like that. Like, it's not a guarantee that they're making
I
it
feel
all the way
they
to the
could.
final.
Bring him on.
He's a good player though, and that annoys me.
Right.
If we do beat them, that'll
Bring
be
him
an
on.
excuse, but never had a Rebo.
Right.
Morelos.
Next
To
question.
be having excuses. Daniel asks Beaton or Gucci to be the deeper midfielders in the derby. Obviously, we can't
Once
really,
again,
it's
it's
too
too
early.
early. It's too early. I
right
would
now,
say.
if you were to ask
If
me
I,
Beaton,
I'd agree if you were, but I mean, I think it's just we need to assess the next couple of games. I think
remember Beaton in the 5-1 game against Rangers
yeah.
at home. He was brilliant,
brilliant.
absolutely phenomenal.
The experience, of course.
David Blythe is Kieran Wald sober the day.
Sobered up.
So I thought, fair enough.
You feeling a bit ready to go?
Ready to go where? I'm here already.
Him.
In my bed.
We'll go to the pub again tonight.
Mac
That's just sad.
Mac asks, which player do you think you'd take in a fight?
What Sellik player? Oof.
McCarthy.
Well, no, listen. Do you see him last night? Gained a lot of
That's all
respect
he
for
done.
him last night.
To be
After
fair,
the-
I say it's all he done, but I thought
after-
it wasn't as bad as what people
Well,
were
no,
saying.
I
That-
thought it was
that's-
shite, but I mean,
This isn't going to help my thingy about having an agenda about Greg Taylor.
Greg Taylor.
I'm not saying I want to fight him, but
No, you do.
I like a fight.
You see, I like a fight. As long as it's a fair fight. What's wrong with a fight?
not breaking any laws.
It's not breaking any laws. No, what was I was going to say? Oh, fuck, what we were talking about there. McCarthy, did you know his tackle last night?
Yes, I
Aye,
did.
a wee bit of respect. Done a
Thought
man's
it was
job.
quite, it was quite, what would you call that?
Scott Brown-esque.
Sneaky.
Scott
I don't know if I
Brown-esque.
liked it or not.
You
I kid
don't-
on, I did
Yeah,
like
you
it.
loved it, mate. Fucking geese piece. Right.
I see no problem with that.
We'll go two or three more questions before we go into the quiz.
Who captains the squad? If Cal Max, it's Joe Hart. It's
Decent.
going to be Joe Hart, and then I think it's Beaton after that, and then maybe Julian.
No.
Or Julian if he's in.
What was your tweet the other day? I found it funny. It was like you, Joe Hart and somebody recreating that mad video at the end of the season. Hopefully it's not a nonsense.
Mate, I had to take it down, but because like Rangers fans obviously just completely bypassed the whole point in the joke. So obviously I put up a tweet at Joe Hart and Adam Johnson saying to recreate this at the end of the season, and then I put as the top reply, hopefully O'Reilly isn't announced. But so Rangers fans started like quoting the first tweet, like the photo, and going, "Oh, typical Celtic mob." Adam Johnson. No, and I was like, I can't even be arsed with this, so I just deleted it.
They hear that word and their spider sense starts tingling. They're like,
Weird. As I said, I've never backed down the weirdest cunts on the planet.
Yeah, weirdest, very weird. But there was something I was going to say about Joe. Oh, I sent to me from heaven, Charles Joseph Hart, you are my world.
That's not
Yeah, the one.
This is the first time we've been in. This is the first time we've been in the podcast studio since we heard the Jota song, which is an absolute topper.
Makes me just think of Numa Numa, man. I love it.
I was
Should
listening to it
make
last
you
night.
think of Numino.
Yeah.
Because that's the tune.
Well, the tune's actually Dragastad and Tay.
Aye, basically the
Aye.
same.
Numa Numa's the fat guy behind the camera.
Just see.
Any more? Or do you think that's it? Any worthy?
Should Mr. Cinch himself, Rylan Clark, present the cup to the league winners?
I think he should. I honestly
Aye.
think he should present the trophy.
I love that guy.
So
I
yeah,
think
mate,
he's class.
Do you know what's mad? Like, see when he was on like X Factor years
Aye,
ago, and when he first started in entertainment, I hated him. But I actually think he is quite good. I think he's
Do you enjoy
quality.
Supermarket Sweep?
I do. It was better with Dale Winton.
That's a count suspended. I love that.
It was better with Dale Winton.
It was.
Gone but not forgotten. But Ryland's carrying on the light because there's a lot of reboots.
He's
that are
not
just,
anymore.
Do you know who my dad?
Like, it's been cancelled. So
Is
it's
it?
not-
Well, do you know what my dad Who my dad hates? He fucking despises with all his heart. Stephen Mulhern. My dad.
I love Steve.
My dad hates him.
My-
Can't stand
My
him.
late papa,
Eh?
my late papa, God rest his soul, he always hated certain people on the telly.
Aye.
And the worst one was Ben Shepherd on Tipping Point.
Ben Shepherd?
I had
Oh,
that-
Ben Shepherd's got a
agenda.
nasty streak, man. Do you know, see him getting sent off and that?
Yes.
He's all smiles and cuddles and
Who
tipping
was
point,
it?
but
Did he tackle Bradley? Was it?
No, I don't
Was
think
it
it
him
was.
via
No.
another host? No.
Bradley
No.
Walsh is on fucking everything now, by the way.
No, they'd have been on the same team.
Yeah,
wouldn't they?
Bradley. How does is Bradley Walsh got one of these like elusive contracts that only exist till at the top?
He's
Because
on blankety
he's on
blank now.
BBC, he's on ITV. He can't pick a side.
he's freelance.
There's
Aye.
a question for you quickly just before we go into the quiz. What is your favourite quiz? Like TV quiz?
Yeah, but Bullseye's the best. Undisputed. Bullseye will always be the
I
greatest.
mean, like current ones that are on just now.
Why is Bullseye not been brought back? But
It's it should be because darts is
I
massive.
don't, why is Bullseye not been like? I don't know if they just want to leave the legacy of Les Dennis and like. Was it Les Dennis that done?
No, Jim Bowen.
So it was Les Dennis.
Oh, that is a shocker.
That is a terrible
That's a
sorry. I know,
shocker.
and the worst
You
part
don't
is
even look.
no, I know that's because the worst part is I was thinking of Jim Bowen, but I just said Les Dennis. Les fucking Dennis. What is it Les Dennis done again? Christ.
Amanda Holden.
What is it Les Dennis done again? Christ, how have we got into
He
this?
was on
podcast?
extras. Not Family Fortunes.
Les Dennis, what was he in?
So
Family Fortunes.
Family Fortunes, aye.
Are you saying favourite quiz on
Bullseye needs to come back. Who would host it? Probably
Paddy McGuinness, let's be honest.
Ryland. Don't mind a wee bit of Paddy McGinnis. Ryland, aye. My favourite one, the news, is The Chase.
Chase
The Chase is just...
Chase is class,
unmatched, man.
It's the greatest.
As much as I don't really like Michael McIntyre, the wheel is class.
I quite enjoy that. The wheel's alright.
That-
fucks the
and-
It's
and
quite
the
good.
hit
It's a
list-
new one, the
hit list as
BBC.
well. With
I
the-
just don't
it's-
watch the telly.
BBC.
the name
It's,
that tune one.
it's got like select. Was KSI
Wait,
on
is
the
there
wheel?
not a Ant
Chunks
Deck?
was on it
Chunks,
a couple of weeks ago.
Is there not an Ant Deck one that's like the prize money is like ridiculous on it, like a lot of fucking money they give away.
But the wheel's like one to get celebrities on, and there's like they spin the wheel to get the topic, and then they spin the wheel to see who's going to help you with the topic, and then
Like, in terms of daytime shows, you're a bit. You've got like Impossible. I quite like that. My map hates it for some reason. My mad doesn't like Tenable either.
I love Tenable.
Tenable's good.
I love a
Tenable's
list.
easy. Tenable's
I
easy.
love
No,
a
but
list.
it's easy unless you get hit with fucking
Victorian
medieval kings and queens.
Aye, exactly. Then it's.
That's
If
what,
I
that's what pisses me off about the Chase. Like,
But do you know what that is? I've always said that. I've
I've
always said this about kings and queens questions being so common. There's a reason you get taught that in England. Like that's one of the main
aye.
things you learn in school, like primary and secondary school. You always learn about, but we don't get that up here.
well,
So that's why.
we learn about the world's independence and that up here. To
Aye.
be fair, but still couldn't tell you an awful lot about them. But
Just
So what's your
quickly.
favourite?
The
wheel?
Probably the wheel, but if I was to bring one back, £1 million drop was class on a Friday.
was
they
alright.
changed that to the £100,000
The
drop.
stakes aren't the same.
the budget got cut big
There's
time.
less bundles. It
I
just
know.
felt like a big deal on Channel
Aye.
4 on a Friday night.
Davina McCall.
One of
You
your
know, it was a big deal when she was
one of your
involved.
geography teachers was on that mind.
Shit.
Mr. Metcalf. He went on the £1 million drop.
That's terrible that I said was she, because
Did he?
I assumed,
Aye,
I
Mr.
assumed that a woman.
Wait, who's Mr. Metcalf?
He was a
the
geography
Irish
teacher.
one?
Aye, that everybody fancied.
I don't think it was £1 million drop.
Was it no?
I don't know, but
I'm
I
sure
think,
it was that.
I don't think so because I remembered like no having a fucking clue what the programme was.
Right, I thought it was that. Oh well.
He won money on it. Aye.
Aye, won money. Aye, then fucked off.
Speaking of quizzes,
Speaking of quizzes, what
Press
a
the
lovely
button.
transition. This is one of the this is one of the best as well.
It was a bit a long lead in, but we got
That's
there
one,
in the
that's
end.
one of the best ones as well. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? But it was better with Tarrant than it is with Clarkson. I think.
I don't mind Jeremy Clarkson. I mean, he's a bit of a prick, but in terms of like on the telly and that, I love Top Gear.
Aye. Right, okay. Quiz today. The league table currently stands in the year 2022 1-0 to Ryan McGinley. He is at the top of the table with his first win. He's played one. Kieran Auld has played one. I have played none. Callum Craig has played none. So the table is still in its early days, but today I take part for the first time in 2022, and I will be facing up against a man who needs to redeem himself from last week, Kieran Auld.
Don't care.
I want to win, mate.
who wants to go first? Who wants to go second?
Well, Kieran, since you played last week and lost, I will let you choose if you'd like to be set A or set B.
I'll go City.
Oh, wait, Kieran's gone first.
First question. Hibs had more possession on Monday night against Celtic. True or false?
True.
Correct.
Because they made up your big deal with it.
I seen Joe Black tweeting about
Aye,
it, so
Joe
that's
Black
who I
made a
knew.
big-
Yep.
Freak show, man.
Right.
So it's 1-0 Kieran. Ryan, first question for you. Last night's opponents, Alloa, are still yet to draw a game in League One this season. True or false?
False.
False, yep. They've drawn 7 games this season.
Thank God I done my match preview.
Like that. So it's one each. Kieran, our Portuguese superstar Felipe Jota was photographed in which store with his parents last week, which hinted to fans he may be here for the long term?
IKEA.
Do you know what the annoying thing is? I went to IKEA that
I
day.
know.
Did
I
you?
was at IKEA that day, yep. I went through to IKEA to buy a new coffee table, and then we went out to the pub later at night, and Kieran got his phone. He's like, oh, sure, I was in IKEA today. And I was like,
I like a wee journey to
glad,
IKEA.
I do, I enjoy
I've
it.
not been to IKEA in years, man. I might go.
I enjoy it.
I'm in Coatbridge, obviously, but he heads about a half an hour drive. It's always that way. It's brilliant, but they've taken away fizzy juice. But then again, I don't even drink fizzy juice anymore, so I
I know,
shouldn't
it
even
doesn't matter,
bother.
mate.
I hate Bray.
I sat there in the cafe myself, eating
Sad
meatballs.
bastard.
I need to try the meatballs for that.
What's that? How's that sad? I was just having
You
some...
said it was sad last
It
week
was
and you're
sad,
describing it.
It was.
So 2-1 to Kieran. Our opponents in the Conference League, Bodo Glimt,
Yeah.
finished last season in which position in the Elite Syrian?
I'm going to guess third.
First, no.
First, they won the league.
Wow.
They were 3 points ahead of Mulder.
Wow.
Remember that name? So that's a chance.
How the fuck did they end up the comp? Oh, well, like qualifiers and shit.
So this is to go 3-1 up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Celtic drew Raith Rovers in the next round of the Scottish Cup. But what was the score the last time we faced the Fife team in September?
Oh, what was the score in that game?
This would have been a good quiz for me this week too.
Please get it wrong.
I don't know.
I know the answer to.
I don't know. 2-0.
3-0 win it.
3-0.
3-0.
Jota scored.
Class.
I think Turnbull scored as well. He scored twice.
Yeah, he played that day.
God.
Yeah.
So this is a chance for it to go 2 each.
Equalise.
Yep, to equalise. On this day 3 years ago, which Premiership club did Celtic beat 4-0 with Burke, Sinclair and Ware all getting on the score
Oh,
sheet?
wait. I think I know.
On this day, how many? 4 years ago?
3.
3 years
3
ago.
years ago.
Did I say 4
2019.
there, sorry?
No, I don't, no, you didn't.
you
I
said
think
3.
You said 3. I was just listening.
I think I know what it is.
Would it have been a Scottish Cup game?
No.
Can I tell?
In fact, no it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No, because we played Airdrie before.
Scum.
On this day, we played somebody.
2019.
2019. I mean, we beat them 4-0. Ollie Buck scored, you say?
When Ryan Pure fancied Ollie Buck.
Aye.
Started wearing long sleeved everything.
He's with Millwall now.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I went
See?
Millwall, aye. Right, okay. I'm just going to have to fathom my guess because I literally have no Scooby-Doo. And I'm going to guess it was against... What's that team I had in my head there?
Oh my fucking god, man.
What?
Can't
You're
remember
ripping the
the-
arse right out this, man.
St Mirren.
There we go.
Correct.
Aye.
What an answer!
I remember it because of Ware scoring.
Aye, beautiful.
Yes, I...
Coach under Coach Neil. So this is to go
Coach Neil.
Coach Neil.
3-2 up.
No, would that not have been Brendan? Aye, Brendan would have been in charge.
It was.
Aye,
Sorry,
aye.
I'm thinking of Coach Neil.
Still about a month until it's 3 years since you
It was
left.
after the Motherwell game, wasn't
Aye,
it?
because we were in Valencia, came back, Motherwell. Yeah.
Right,
Uni.
I've got myself back in
Aye.
it. I've got myself back
Brendan
in it.
caused that.
So this is to go 3-2 up. Our new signing, Matt O'Reilly, wears the number 33 shirt. Named 2 Celtic players to previously wear this number.
El Hamid and oh you fucker 33 See with El Hamid, just a quick thing,
He changed to 44.
was it changed to 44 instead of I wasn't
Didn't
sure
help him?
if he changed to
No, it
33.
did
No,
not.
it did not. That's a tough one.
There's 2 obvious ones and one that's not so obvious. I thought you would have got one and then the other.
I've got somebody in my head.
I'm actually awful with like
Bad with numbers.
and everything in general. But 33, fuck. I'm trying to go back like the seasons in my head, but I genuinely don't know. I'll kick myself when you say it, but
Are you passing on this?
I might need to because I don't want to sit here all day.
So the not obvious one was Paul McMullen. And the 2 sort of obvious
Marvin
ones,
Compa.
Marvin
Aye,
Compa
I remember
and-
seeing the tweets. Aye.
and the Palestinian Pirlo himself, Berham Kyle.
Fuck, so it is.
Oh shit! I didn't even think of Kyle. Actually.
Kyle would be the first player. 'Cause he was my favourite Celtic
Yeah.
player for about 4 years.
I actually forget every cunt's number. See when it's not like a pure obvious one, like a normal number. Not a fucking clue.
Well, I have the chance to take the lead here, don't I?
Aye. Wow, what a turnaround. So this is a numbers one as well.
Alright.
Ideguchi wears the number 21 shirt. Named 2 Celtic players to previously wear this number.
I could give you one straight away.
Yeah, me too.
I can't fucking think of one straight away.
You're not getting to sit here forever.
You just sat there forever.
Not as long as you did with the fucking hingy one, St Mirren.
At the same time,
Bollocks.
You've got to get at least one of these.
21. I can't wait. My head's had absolute blank for
That's
21.
exactly what happens.
21.
That's the hot seat.
I know
isn't it?
what. I know
It's the hot
one.
seat.
I know. Let me try and think of other ones.
Right, I'll try and get out rapid. Right, I'm just going to pass, mate.
In Cham.
Cham.
Oh, Cham, of course. Fuck me, I've got a poster behind me.
Chico, Charlie Mulgrew,
Oh, Charlie Mulgrew.
Magnus Hedman, and
I
Edson
got
Brathwaite.
I wouldn't have got that, but Mulgrew. And,
I would have sat
Cham.
there all day and I'd have forgot about Mulgrew, but Cham's the one that obviously instantly comes to you.
Then it's like up to me.
So this is to go 3-2 up.
Is this his final question?
Yeah, the final for each eye.
Christ.
When is the last season Celtic wore black socks with their iconic home shirt?
2012-13.
What an answer.
Bastard,
Because he
it
only
was
wore it for a
easy.
couple of games. It was absolutely honking. Did they wear it only for a
Ah,
couple
No,
of
they
games?
wore it the whole season, didn't they? No, aye.
that was,
They don't change it,
I
no?
haven't
No
liked it.
point, aye.
They might have changed it, but I liked it.
I think they changed it for certain games,
Yeah.
but I think it was like the whole season. Aye,
we
It's
won
the
the one
player
that we won the one that maybe beat Barca.
aye, it was
No.
White Sox that night.
always remember
Ca-
like
ju- Just
Joe
to, just
Ledley
to
and that.
make you feel even worse.
That'll be 10
years
years ago in
November.
November. Yep. Thanks, Kieran. Thank you.
10 years, nearly
Right,
10 years
so-
since we beat Barca.
10 years in November since we beat Barca.
God, man.
Now Ryan needs to
No, I
get
need to
this
get
right.
this
Yeah,
right.
we've got to get this right. Goal scorer on Saturday night yesterday, Yakimakis, has scored how many goals at senior international level for Greece?
Oh, that's a fucking tough one.
How do you get the black socks and I get this?
Because I picked City.
Fuck you.
Is the chase over?
How many senior international goals for Greece?
Just hazard, I guess. I think I actually
He
looked
has
up.
only
How,
played for Greece.
I know. I looked up how many caps he had the other day. I think.
Right.
Even last night, and I was steaming.
I'm going to just fathom a complete and utter guess at this, and it's not going to be right, but it's all I can do, which means Kieran's probably going to be the winner of the quiz. I'll get the music ready.
So try fucking reverse jinx yourself.
My guess is 2.
Play the music. Kieran is the winner.
Many.
1.
Oh, you cunt!
I
He's
guess
had
3.
6 appearances for Greece and he's not been called up since March 2021. So do you want to hear the tiebreaker? So it's one of those calculation ones. Jota's goal contributions this season times the goal scored by Adam Brooks yesterday for the B team against Edinburgh.
I don't even know how many goals he scored. You should know, Kieran.
I know. People are relying on me with this fucking
You have the lowdown.
I'm sorry, everybody that follows that.
Brooks is a good player, by the way. You always see him in the score sheet.
Jota's goal
I don't
contribution.
know,
I'd actually be like. I remember Brooks scored first.
77.
didn't
77.
No, not even close.
he? If you're timesing Jota's goal contributions by how many goals he scored,
I just threw a random number, didn't do any math.
I don't know, fucking 94.
You would have won.
I know.
Yeah, because Jota's goal contributions is 14.
Right.
And
7
Adam
tonight.
Brooks scored a hat-trick yesterday.
14 times 3, 10, 20, 30,
42.
40. CALLUM MCGREGOR. Wow. I'm disappointed with myself there, I must admit.
But that was a good quiz.
It was a good quiz. Thank you, Matthew Duff. for
Especially
the
given
quiz.
the
And
circumstances.
yeah,
how quick.
I messaged him.
He is-
I messaged him at 1 o'clock today. It is currently 20 past 2. We've got the quiz done. But he had that over in I think about half an hour or something. So
That is
Very well
incredible.
done.
And the
Very
wee
well done.
table as well.
and a wee table.
I love that.
As always, he's always
So
organised.
cool.
I love that.
So what's
That's what I
that?
love.
me and Ryan go.
We've all
But
played one.
I've played 2.
So you've played 2. Sorry, you've played 2. McGinley's played
You've
1.
all
I've
got a
played
game
1.
in hand. Fucking.
Game in hand, and Callum Craig's got 2 games in hand over you. So
These
Callum Craig will
this fixture
hopefully,
congestion.
Callum Craig will hopefully be on the next episode. He can
I'm
take
on
part in his
Thursday.
first quiz. And that does us for today. Unless there's any breaking news surfaced over the past sort of hour or so.
I think so.
In the world of Celtic. Thank you to everybody for the support on the first episode of 2020. By the way, it was
The views are good.
the views were good. So we're off to.
Did you say? Did you say 2022?
Yeah, I
then?
did that.
I thought you said 2020. I was like,
I mate, I'm 2 years behind.
aye.
Let's go
Um,
back.
Thank you everybody for your support. It has been absolutely tremendous, and we're looking forward to a full year, of course, of
And-
shenanigans.
And if you're still here in the comment section, please comment Callum beat his fingernails. Because they need a good wash.
There's your word. Get a scrub in between
Get
the
grip
nails.
yourself.
Get on BT. Yeah, give yourself, you idiot. Right, like and subscribe if you're listening on Spotify. Please make sure to support the show by hitting the follow button on Spotify and also sharing it out with your friends and family. We'll be back during the week for a special midweek special.
A very special midweek special.
And then after that, it will be the special of all specials.
The special.
The
Because we'll be
special.
reviewing the Dundee United game and previewing the Glasgow Derby.
Yes, correct, Mundo. Right, from me, from Ryan, from Kieran Auld, it's cheerio and hell.